We're out here in Seguin, Texas today. You know, farm stands like this used to be common in small communities throughout Texas, but with the growth of our urban areas and the expansion of suburban life, farms are forced to move further away from our cities. In a time where we literally have information in the palm of our hand, how much do we really know about our food? We're here today to take you on a journey of flavor and to give you a glimpse of the lives of those who produce our food, those who purchase it, and create amazing dishes from it. I'm Michael Grimes, and this is Source to Course. Hi, I'm Michael Grimes. Thank you guys so much for having me out here.
Jeffrey Brownie, yes,
Pleasure to meet you. Hi, I'm Michael.
Hi, Julie Brownie.
Could you show me a little bit what we have going on here today?
We are picking an heirloom cherry tomato known as a porter. They're an old heirloom variety. They are low acidic tomato to start off with, and then the soil adds to the low acidity, being that it's an alkaline soil. They're a pinker tomato. They don't truly turn a real dark red. They more are of a pink tomato. Would you like to try one?
I would love to. Well, the first thing you can see is they're juicy. And because of the low acidity, it allows us to taste the floral notes that you normally miss with a tomato. The sugar is right on point. This seems like it's something that can only be offered uniquely from this farm.
Yes, sir. Very few farms in this area grow in this heavy of a clay soil. The clay grabs hold of the nutrients and holds them. We're also very high in potassium, which gives our fruits and our vegetables more flavor.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed right off the bat is the color of the soil.
This soil is known as blackland. It's probably about an 80% clay soil. Most people do not grow produce in it, but here at Braune Farms we do. This is what we owned, this is what we farmed, and so this is what we grow our produce in.
Yeah, and how much of this land is available in South Texas?
The Blackland Prairie gets narrower and narrower all the way down to San Antonio. It more or less follows the I-35 corridor, which y'all know is growing and becoming more and more populated, so we are losing more and more of this blackland throughout the state of Texas.
And it seems like farms are being forced further and further away from our cities.
Farms are being forced further and further away. And they are developing this beautiful farmland, and people are having to go to other areas of Texas to farm where the soil is not as productive or as good as this beautiful blackland.
Which in turn, I guess, affects like how far out in advance they have to pick the crops. I mean, these are perfectly sweet and ripe, and this is what you're delivering to the consumer.
Yes, sir. The fresher, the closer you can harvest your crops. One, it's better for the environment because you're not having to have it travel as far. Also, you're getting a better product because from right now, when I pick this tomato, it is starting to lose nutrients. Once you harvest any vegetable or fruit from the plant, it starts losing nutrients. And so if you're having to ship that product a week, 2 weeks away, by the time the consumer gets it, there's very little nutrient content left in the product.
Just becomes filler food.
Yes, sir.
All flavor with no nutrients and even lack of flavor.
A lot of fiber.
And a lot of fiber. Well, these are great. Can we see what else you have to offer?
Yes, sir. We'd be glad to show y'all.
They're so good.
So over here we have our eggplant. It's doing really well this season. As you can tell, even despite the heat, it's still blooming. And we have baby eggplant on the bushes as well as larger eggplant that are ready to harvest.
Now, I know that there's multiple varieties of eggplant. What are you growing here specifically at Braune Farm?
Specifically, this is a globe type of variety of eggplant. It's pretty versatile, it works really well, and it grows really well for us.
And about how long does it take to reach maturity?
About 75 to 80 days from the time we plant the seed to harvest.
You know, for the average consumer, can you tell them a little bit what to look for when they're purchasing an eggplant?
Sure. First of all, when you look at an eggplant, you want to make sure, a lot of people have the misconception that you want a really shiny skin. The duller or a little bit duller that the eggplant end means that it's a little riper, and you want it to be firm to the touch. You don't want it to be soft. Soft means that it's getting old or it's getting a little riper than it needs to be. Now, if you look right here, we have one, it's discolored a little bit, which means it could be getting into the little bit of the overripe stage. But this one right here, on the other hand, is probably ripe. It's a little smaller due to the heat. Sometimes the eggplant can get smaller. Still good, still very good quality, and this would be a great one to cut. These are our cucumbers. We grow 2 different varieties of cucumbers here on our farm. We do a slicing type cucumber and we do the pickling type cucumbers. These are our slicers. If you notice right here, there's a really nice cucumber right there.
Wow, that is beautiful. And some of these things that you see show that this is a natural method of growing. This is really what happens. These aren't a synthetic seed that's been made in a lab. You are a natural purveyor and you produce great products. What are you looking for when you're harvesting these cucumbers?
Cucumbers, I want to look for a good green color. Size, obviously, I don't want to pick them very, very small. A lot of times the cucumbers will have little spines on them when they're young, and so you know that they're young and you don't want to pick them at that point. You want to let them grow a little bit more. You don't want to let them get too big, because at that point they can get bitter and the seeds could get really big, and the consumer doesn't like a large seed in the cucumber as well. So you're looking for more of a medium-sized cucumber, lengthwise, you know, about like this or maybe a little bit longer, and in a good, nice green color.
How would you say that water and sun affects the outcome of the flavor and overall appearance of the cucumber?
Well, water in general, anytime that you water a lot, or if we get a lot of rain, it's going to dilute the natural sugars in anything that we're growing. So we like to be able to regulate the amount of water that our produce gets, just so we can maintain the great flavor and natural sugars that are in our fruit or in our vegetables. Sun, we definitely want to keep healthy foliage, because that's what's going to keep the cucumbers from sunburning. They will sunburn, they'll get a white color on them, and it's still good to eat, but cosmetically they don't look good. And obviously, if something doesn't look pretty to the consumer, they're not going to buy it.
I really want to thank you so much for letting us come out here today, and really we only saw a glimpse of what a day out here on Braune Farms is like. What we've seen today is, I mean, you literally have elements from the environment, you have elements from insects, you have elements from landscape being taken away from you. All these things have to add a lot of stress into your life.
My husband and I have this saying that we don't go to Vegas, we just farm. It's truly a gamble. Every time you put a seed in the ground, put a plant in the ground, it is truly a gamble as to what Mother Nature is going to throw at you. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. And I wish that we could educate the public more about what truly goes into growing vegetables, you know, for their family and for my family.
I mean, if there's one thing that we could take away from today that people would compel people to come and buy locally, what do you think it would be? What message do we want to give to the consumer to let them know that food locally is the best that they can have for their families?
When you buy from someone like us, number one, you're supporting a family farm. Number two, you are able to develop whether you buy from me or you buy from another farmer, you can develop that rapport with that farmer where you know where your food is coming from. You can ask them, well, what variety of tomatoes are you growing? Or has this been sprayed with anything? Or are you organic? You can develop that rapport with that farmer where you really feel like you know where your food is coming from. Quality and freshness, those two things enough. You're getting better quality produce for your family and fresher. Just as we talked about earlier today, from the time you pick something, it starts to lose its nutritional value. So the fresher you can get it and the fresher that you can consume it, the better it is for your, for your body. Take that a step beyond, and we welcome anybody to our farm. Come see what we're growing, And nobody can ever say, oh, well, you had that at your farm stand, or you had that at the farmer's market and you don't have it at your farm. Not the case. Come out anytime.
Yeah, the transparency is here.
Exactly.
And it's always remarkable. It never fails me to see that people that are getting the least amount of support are the ones that are still giving every bit of extra time that they have to everyone else. And it's important that we bring people out to this farm. You are open, you are available, and all of it shows. You guys are hardworking, honest family, and the product shows it. And I can't thank you enough for having us out today.
Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
What do we need to do to wrap up the day?
You're good.
All right.